Because every religion is a way to arrive at God. Sort of a comparison, an example would be they're sort of like different languages in order to arrive at God.
Ma Dio è Dio per tutti.
But God is God for all.
Pope Francis kicking off the most ambitious trip of his pontificate with Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim-majority country, where his message centered on how different religions can coexist. The Pope stopping by the largest mosque in Southeast Asia.
And if God is God for all, then we're all sons and daughters of God.
Ma il mio Dio è più importante del tuo.
But my God is more important than your God.
È vero quello?
Is that true?
C'è un solo Dio lì.
There's only one God, and each of us is a language, so to speak, in order to arrive at God.
Qualcuno
Muslim,
Indi, qualcuno cristiano,
Indo,
ma
Christian.
sono diversi cammini.
There are different paths.
Understood?
We want to show you some extraordinary pictures which came to us from the Vatican on what was, of course, an extraordinary day. Within hours of Pope Benedict announcing that he was to resign, take a look at this. Lightning struck St. Peter's Basilica. You can see it again now in slow motion. Extraordinary. It happened just before 6 o'clock in the evening, local time.
Pope Francis recently announced the agenda for the establishment of a single world religion, based on a framework of unity among all religions and people on the planet. This is in line with what is predicted in Revelation 13:3, where it is stated that the entire world will follow the beast, who represents the Antichrist. The Pope is currently on a mission to Asia, promoting Vatican policies and the worship of brother-son. He recently managed to reach an agreement with Indonesia, one of the most populous countries in the world, uniting 6 major religions under the concept of ecumenism. On his journey through several countries in Asia and Oceania, he issued a statement that clashes with biblical principles. On September 13, 2024, in Singapore, Pope Francis participated in an interreligious meeting with young people of different faiths, promoting the idea that a single world religion is in the making. This movement, driven by the Antichrist, is leading people to worship the sun, Green Sunday, and even Climate Saturday as the Pope travels the world consolidating this idea of unification. During this event, the Pope assured young people that all religions lead to the same God. This statement, which directly confronts Christian teachings, shows how the papacy has distanced itself from the gospel of Jesus Christ. According to him, if we continue to compete between religions, claiming that one is superior to the other, where will this lead us? He reaffirmed that all religions are paths to the true God, and that God is universal for everyone. Thus, according to the Pope, the various religions and their different teachings are just different ways of reaching the same God. By making these statements, the Pope placed Christianity on an equal footing with other religions such as Islam, Hinduism, and even nature worship. This modern ecumenical movement is, in a way, diluting the uniqueness of the Christian faith, especially that of Seventh-day Adventists. The promotion of the idea that figures such as Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Krishna, and even Mother Earth are valid paths to God represents a clear deviation from biblical teachings. Rome is consolidating a universal brotherhood, and Pope Francis is calling on all religions to join him. However, it is clear that he is not preaching the true gospel of Jesus Christ or encouraging worship of the God of heaven. On the contrary, the Vatican continues to promote a multicultural and universal message, which states that all religions lead to the same God. Regrettably, this philosophy is also being adopted by other churches. If all religions are the same and lead us to God, then the concept of evangelization loses its meaning. If we believe that all beliefs lead to God, we would be directly contradicting the words of Jesus, who said, "He who believes in him is not condemned, but he who does not believe is condemned already," John 3:18. And "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." It is impressive how Pope Francis has openly contradicted Christ's own words, even though he presents himself as the vicar of Christ. This position, which many consider blasphemous, is even more alarming due to the lack of reaction on the part of Protestants, who remain silent while this power is consolidated. One thing is certain, 2024 is a year in which even the most skeptical are witnessing the fulfillment of prophecies before their eyes. So that you can understand more clearly and quickly the signs that surround us in challenging times like the ones we are living in, it is essential to be aware of the prophecies that are being fulfilled. Many still don't realize the magnitude of what is happening around us. And that's why I decided to offer something special to all channel subscribers, an exclusive digital ebook titled The Secret Behind the Holy Bible. This book is an unmissable opportunity to access impactful revelations about biblical prophecies that will open your eyes to current reality. Don't let this unique chance pass you by. The knowledge contained in this ebook could change the way you see events around you. The process to get your gift is quick and simple. Just click on the link available in the first pinned comment to download it immediately. In the book of Daniel, we see the example of Daniel and his friends, who, even under pressure in the Babylonian court, remained faithful to God and refused the wine offered by Babylon. Daniel's faithfulness enabled him to interpret Nebuchadnezzar's dream, which revealed the second coming of Christ. In Daniel chapter 3, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael faced death when they refused to worship the golden statue erected by Nebuchadnezzar, remaining steadfast in their worship of God. Satan, through the powers represented by the dragon and the leopard-like beast, managed for many centuries to destroy the faithful testimony of God. Now we see a transition from the power of the dragon to the beast of the sea and then to the beast of the land. Revelation warns us that everything the beast of the earth does is in favor of the first beast. The United States, represented by the beast from the land, will help restore the power of the beast from the sea, breaking down barriers that prevent the papacy from taking global control. In Revelation 6:4 we read, "And another horse came out, which was red, and to him that sat on it was given power to take peace from the earth, that they might kill one another, and to him was given a great sword." The red horse symbolizes the violence that Satan uses to accomplish his goals. The reason this knight was given the power to bring peace to the earth is in the words of Jesus in Matthew 10:34. "Do not think that I came to send peace on the earth. I did not come to send peace, but a sword. This sword, the word of God, is what divides the true from the false, the righteous from the wicked." These days, many Christians are focused on the Middle East, waiting for the fulfillment of biblical prophecies, while the true powers that will play an essential role in the end times continue to act in the shadows, astonishing the nations. There is a new religion emerging, and it is dangerous. The Bible speaks of a prophecy in the book of Revelation. This book mentions a religion that will dominate in the last days. How will this religion dominate, and who will promote this religion? To find these answers, watch this video until the end. This religion is called the religion of Babylon and occurs in the book of Revelation. John wrote the book of Revelation, but it differs from his gospel in his 3 letters. This is because the book of Revelation was uniquely given to John. God the Father gave it to Jesus, who in turn gave it to an angel. The angel then passed it on to John, who wrote it so that all the churches would know how this religion affects them. To understand how this religion affects you, watch this video until the end. No other book in the Bible emerged in such a complex way. John wrote down what he saw and heard, and sometimes what he saw was so extraordinary that the angel had to remind him 11 times to write it all down. During his visions, John was taken to heaven, where he heard several voices and a choir singing, and he had to make sure to write all these things down. Revelation is an incredible book with a clear theme: the return of our Lord Jesus Christ to earth. This event is predicted 318 times in the Bible, making it the most frequently mentioned prediction. The book of Revelation covers the events that occur before, during, and after the return of the Lord Jesus. The leaders get drunk with the strange woman in the book of Revelation, the evil entity from Babylon. An angel invites John to witness the trial of this evil woman. Revelation 17 verses 1 and 2. "Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and spoke to me, saying, 'Come here, I will show the judgment of the great prostitute who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed acts of sexual immorality, and those who live on earth have become drunk with the wine of their sexual immorality.' From the beginning, his judgment is unquestionable. There was never any doubt as to the fate and ultimate failure of Babylon. Babylon emerged as a religious system long before Christianity, but in satanic imitation, it anticipated the coming of the true Messiah. We read, "Who sits on many waters." Babylon is situated on many waters, which signifies its dominion over many nations. Her character is such that she can be understood on an international level, making her a global figure. Babylonian religion has a mesmerizing effect on both people and rulers. Karl Marx once claimed that religion is the opium of the masses, and in a sense he was right. Empty religion, which has no real meaning, can be as addictive as a drug. We read, "drunk with the wine of his fornication." Throughout the Bible, the concept of fornication is often strongly associated with acts of idolatry. It is possible that this religious system seems attractive spiritually, although not necessarily morally. The idea around Babylon. The city of Babylon is mentioned in the Bible 287 times, making it the second most mentioned city after Jerusalem. The city was located on the banks of the Euphrates River and was considered the cradle of civilization, which expressed organized hostility to God, according to Genesis 11 verses 1, shortly after the flood. Later, Babylon became the capital of the empire and ruthlessly conquered Judah. During this time, Judah was under its control. For God's people, Babylon represented all evil. She was the incarnation of cruelty, luxury, lust, and greed, being considered the enemy of God's people. Those who are familiar with the Old Testament know that the word Babylon is linked to organized forms of worship and blasphemy, as well as the oppression of God's people. The concept of Babylon has existed for a long time, before the events described in Revelation 17 or the reign of Antichrist. Babylon represents the world system and has been present throughout history from the time of John, when Rome represented it, to the present day. However, during the reign of Antichrist, Babylon and its religious and commercial aspects will exert unprecedented influence over the world. Religious Babylon is described as part of a system. What is the emerging religion? This Babylon has its origins in the book of Revelation. This depiction depicts Babylon the Great, a powerful and corrupt entity that leads people away from God through deceptive practices. The term Babylon has significant biblical implications. In the Bible, it represents religious infidelity and corruption. To understand the full significance of this term, we must delve into both the biblical text and the historical events related to Babylon. This term is used to represent a system of false religion that lures people away from the true worship of God. It embodies spiritual adultery and moral decadence. Here, Babylon is portrayed as a prostitute who engages in illicit relations with the kings of the earth, highlighting the corruption and moral decline of societies that are entangled in false religions. Babylon as the world system has always been present from the time of John, when Rome exemplified it, to the present day and throughout history. However, during the reign of Antichrist, Babylon, in its religious and commercial forms, will exert an influence on the world that has never been seen before. Religious Babylon is described in Revelation 17 verses 3 to 6. "Then he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. She was clothed in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the filth of her fornication. And on her forehead was written a name, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of the prostitutes and the abominations of the earth. I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus, and when I saw her, I marveled with great admiration." We read, "He led me in the spirit into the wilderness." John is led into the desert, and the arid nature of the desert makes a suitable backdrop for a vision of judgment. We read told of a scarlet beast. This beast, depicted in Revelation 13 verse 1 as having 7 heads and 10 horns, is symbolic of the Antichrist and the government he will establish. The prostitute rides the same beast mentioned in Revelation 13 verse 1. "Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 diadems, and on their heads a name of blasphemy." The Antichrist, the first of the beasts, is a monstrosity that has 10 horns and 7 heads, and a dragon grants him power and authority. One of the heads is mortally wounded, but is healed. The beast utters blasphemies against God and aggressively oppresses God's people wherever they are found on earth. She not only rules the world but also receives the worship of its inhabitants. The first beast is a symbolic image of the Antichrist, and the dragon is Satan. Note that anti-ers in Greek means instead of, not against, meaning a substitute rather than a competitor. The man of lawlessness possesses characteristics similar to those of other fearsome beasts, such as leopards, bears, and lions. He appears to be from a line of political rulers who captured the world's attention through a surprising recovery from a mortal wound, probably in an assassination attempt. The number 66 is the dictator's coded name. The woman is dressed in emblems of governance, scarlet and emblems of wealth such as purple, gold, and precious stones. Despite this, she engages in idolatry, abominations, and the filth of her adultery. In the midst of this luxurious setting, she was dressed in purple and scarlet. The dyes needed to make fabrics in these colors were difficult to obtain and expensive. These colors were associated with splendor and magnificence. 𝑠𝑒𝑟𝑒, mystery, Babylon the Great. This title does not refer to the physical city of Babylon, but rather to the secret spiritual representation of Babylon, which is the origin of all forms of spiritual adultery and idolatry. This prostitute covers more territory than a single department of a religious organization. She is the personification of Satan's own movement, which can be described as the religion of global order. Our world is ripe for the whore to seduce because it is built on the notion that it doesn't matter what you believe, as long as you believe in something. We read, drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. The woman not only persecutes, but also delights in the fact that she is persecuting the godly, much as an intoxicated person delights in alcohol. It is imperative that we do not lose sight of the fact that some of the most heinous atrocities committed against genuine Christians have been done in the name of the Church. Between the years 15 and 1558, under the reign of Queen Mary, also known as Bloody Mary, in England, around 288 Christians who defended the truth of the Christian religion were executed by being burned at the stake. Revelation 17, verses 12 to 15 says, "The 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received kingdoms, but who receive authority as kings for 1 hour along with the beast. They are of one mind and will give up their power and authority to the beast. These will fight against the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful." The prostitute is our peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. This probably alludes to a confederation of 10 nations. Whatever his exact identity, his actions are evident. This strange figure rules over all the peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages of the world. This demonstrates that the prostitute's impact can be felt throughout the world as a result of her relationship with the beast. This will be a true world religion. They are of one mind and will give up their power and authority to the beast. These will fight against the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. The prostitute is our peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. This probably alludes to a confederation of 10 nations. Whatever his exact identity, his actions are evident. This strange figure rules over all the peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages of the world. This demonstrates that the prostitute's impact can be felt throughout the world as a result of her relationship with the beast. This will be a true world religion. The meaning of the prostitute is centered on her connection to the beast. That is, how she is completely intertwined with the beast and the government he leads. The great prostitute is judged. The allies of the Antichrist will turn against the great prostitute. Revelation 17, verse 16 says, "And the 10 horns that you saw, and the beast, these will hate the prostitute, and leave her desolate and naked, and will eat her flesh and burn her with fire." We read, "These will hate the prostitute. They will leave her desolate and naked. They will eat her flesh and burn her with fire." In the end, the Antichrist will not tolerate any form of worship other than that directed toward himself. The son of perdition exalts himself above everything that is called God or that is worshipped, to the point of sitting in the temple of God, showing himself as if he were God. Revelation 17, verse 17 continues, "For God has put it into their hearts to carry out his purpose, to be of one mind, and to give their kingdom to the beast, until the words of God are fulfilled. We read that God placed in their hearts the judgment that was sent against religious Babylon, which was ordained by God. Sometimes God uses one wicked group, in this case the 10 kings, as an instrument of his judgment against another wicked group, in this case religious Babylon. This happens frequently in the Bible. The political support that these 10 rulers will provide to the Antichrist will be ordained by God. The world will get exactly what it asks for, a godless religion and a godless government. Revelation 17 verse 18 reveals, "And the woman whom you saw is that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth." Rome was said to be the great whore in this metaphor. In John's day, there was no debate over which city ruled the planet's rulers. At that time, Rome served as the political, economic, and religious focal point of the entire world. However, Babylon, in the sense of global order, has always been this great metropolis that rules over the rulers of the world since the beginning of time. For Christians, the question that needs to be asked is, does she reign over me, or am I a resident of a larger city? Babylon is doomed, she and they will fall, their days are numbered. The way in which this is accomplished is absolutely plausible in today's environment. Ambitious, power-hungry politicians resent this financial power and are even prepared to bring about economic disaster if it allows them to take control. The kings will be jealous of the woman who rides them and will decide to destroy her. The city will be consumed in flames. It will be the worst economic disaster in world history. Many people will weep and lament over the ruins, but the disaster will be caused by God, not by any physical action. He will have instilled in their hearts the desire to fulfill his mission, persuading them to join the beast to fight the city. The Antichrist will have political authority, and the false prophet will have religious control. The kings will now offer them economic control in exchange for powers delegated to themselves, but the possession of such privileges will be extremely short, just an hour. The fall of Babylon is so certain that it is portrayed in Revelation as if it had already occurred. Don't forget to download our book, The Secret Behind Biblical Prophecies. There are already more than 500,000 copies sold, and we are at the last units, so don't waste time and enjoy. I guarantee that you will acquire a lot of knowledge after reading this sensational book, written with great care and love for all the subscribers of our channel, completely based on the Holy Bible. The link is in the first pinned comment.